If savvy business owners and congressional people use this, what do they know that you don't? In this educational video episode, I'm going to address the question, what is Doug Andrews' LASERFund? Now, if you don't know, I'm Doug Andrew, so I'm going to explain what is Doug Andrews' LASERFund because it is imperative you understand what qualifies as a laser fund. So, again, my name's Doug Andrew, and I've been a financial strategist and a retirement planning specialist now for north of 48 and a half years. So, for nearly 5 decades, I've been helping people optimize assets and minimize taxes and empower what I call their authentic wealth. Many people have come to me not necessarily wanting or needing life insurance per se. What they want is to be able to accumulate their money for long-term goals, meaning 5 years or longer, for retirement, let's say, or college funding for their kids, or working capital for their business, or whatever. They want to accumulate their money at a good rate of return. If they can get some tax advantages, that's icing on the cake. But they want to have liquidity. What's liquidity? The ability to access their money whenever they might need it. Maybe even with an electronic funds transfer or a phone call, and they want safety. They don't want their money in a volatile stock market investment or mutual fund portfolio. And I understand that, okay? I used to have over 3,000 clients in 13 Western states, clear back from 1974 to 1980 in the market, and they were never happier than when I got them out of the market, okay? Now, in 1980, E.F. Hutton was the brainchild behind the emergence of universal life. And so this is where, back in 1974 to 1980, I was a big buy term insurance and invest the difference proponent. And then in 1980, E.F. Hutton said, hey, what are we thinking? Why don't we buy term and invest the difference under a tax-free umbrella? And I saw that this is like buy term, invest the difference on steroids, okay? Because it's tax-free. And all E.F. Hutton said in 1980 is, hey, instead of trying to manage people's money in the market and trying to earn an average return of 12%, which Dalbar, who studies investor behavior, says most Americans are not averaging 12. They're averaging 9.14 in a 20-year period, but that's before tax. If you earn 9, you're only netting 6% in a 33% tax bracket in a tax-deferred IRA or 401k at the end of the day. If you accumulated $1 million nest egg and it's earning 9%, theoretically, you ought to be able to pull out 90 grand a year, but you're not netting 90,000 to buy gas and groceries, prescriptions, golf green fees. You're only netting 60,000 after tax. The fact of the matter is most retirees are not averaging 9% because they're buying and selling at the wrong times, Dalbar says. They said the average investor in the market in retirement is only earning 3.49%, about 3.5%. That's what precipitated the 4% rule in the financial services industry, because if you're only earning 3.5%, because when the market starts to go down 20, 25, 30%, people say enough already, and they sell, they liquidate and put money in a bank. They sell low, and then they wait till the market comes back, and then they buy high. The average return is only 3.5%. So most broker-dealers only want their advisors to illustrate a 4% payout. On $1 million nest egg, that's 40 grand a year. You pay tax in a 25% bracket, you're netting 30,000 or 3%. That's unacceptable to me. So my favorite financial vehicle since 1980, without question, is a Max Funded universal life insurance contract. And in 1997, indexed universal life was introduced so that people could still earn average rates of return of 9, 10, and 11% when interest rates started to come down by linking their returns to an index of their choice. So I'm going to try to summarize this as best as possible. And then on this channel, I have hundreds of educational videos that talk about what I'm going to introduce here. So by far, this is my favorite financial instrument for many goals, whether it's retirement, emergency funds, working capital for business, real estate management, estate planning, what have you, because people have come to me primarily for living benefits. They want to accumulate their money safely, tax-free, not just tax-deferred. They want to be able to access that money anytime. They don't want to wait till they're 59 and a half. They don't want to have trigger tax or a 10% penalty. They want to access that money without tax and penalty anytime. And at the end of the day, when they do die, anything they leave behind, they want it to blossom, increase in value, and transfer income tax-free. Nothing else does that in the Internal Revenue Code except a Max Funded Indexed Universal Life Policy. Now is my favorite. And if it's structured correctly and funded properly, it qualifies to be deemed a LASERFund. LASER is an acronym that stands for Liquid Asset Safely Earning Returns. So when we talk about life insurance, see, permanent life insurance, there are many famous wealthy people that have used life insurance for living benefits. Walt Disney actually saved Disneyland when it was ready. He went bankrupt 7 times and had a nervous breakdown before he finally made it, okay? He saved Disneyland by using the money out of his life insurance policies. Ray Kroc did that. Who was he? He was the head of McDonald's that founded McDonald's, okay? You have J.C. Penney, who did the same thing. Most recently, you have the Comptroller General, David Walker, who was the head of the GAO, General Accountability Office, when Obama got into office. And we came so close to a total financial collapse in this country in 2008, and they did not allow him to tell the public how serious of a trouble we were in. So he resigned. And he went around the country talking about, if you want to protect yourself, if there's a total financial collapse in this country, I would recommend you put your money where I do. Where did he put his money? In Max Funded Indexed Universal Life. And so this is where savvy, smart people do that. Indexed Universal Life wasn't around for Disney or Ray Kroc or J.C. Penney. But now Indexed Universal Life is here. I am confident they would all choose that because you're taking the least amount of insurance the IRS will let you get away with, and you're putting in the most money or premium the IRS allows, and it turns into a tax-free cash cow. This is where I have earned 11 and netted 10. Only 1 percentage point of my growth each year on the average. 11.17 is what I've averaged the last 25 or 30 years. Since 1980, I've averaged 9.62. So if I average 9.6, I'm netting 8.6. If I earn 11, I'm netting 10. That means $1 million can generate $100,000 a year of payout tax-free. That knocks the socks off of $1 million nest egg, generating a net of only $30,000 out of an IRA or 401k invested in the market. Okay, how much more is 100,000 than 30,000? It's more than triple. And so this is huge once you understand it. So what you're doing is you're purchasing this primarily for living benefits. To be able to use it for life. That's why I love it, because it's called life insurance. Most advisors sell life insurance as death insurance to only be used if you die. No, E.F. Hutton says, let's use it for tax-free living benefits. So your money grows faster. It is tax-free. And then when you turn on the income, the IRS knows you're receiving it, but you don't have to pay tax on it because it's been protected for over 108 years in the Internal Revenue Code. Now, sometimes people say, is this legit? Absolutely. In the Internal Revenue Code, Section 72E of the Internal Revenue Code, money growing inside of an insurance policy does so tax-free, whether it's interest or dividends. Okay, that's 72E. Section 7702 talks about how you can access that money. So $1 million nest egg can generate $100,000 a year of tax-free income from age 65 to age 120 if you live that long without depleting principal, based on actual history. That is tax-free if you do it the smart way under Section 7702. It's dictated by the IRS. It's legitimate. They actually know. Sometimes people go, oh, as soon as the IRS figures this out, they're going to close that loophole. It's not a loophole. They're the ones who tell you to do it the right way. Why is it tax-free? Hello? Because if you take responsibility and accountability to take pressure off of the government taking care of you during your golden years because you saved, that's why tax-deferred IRAs or 401ks have tax benefits. You're taking pressure off of the government to take care of you with welfare or whatever if you outlive your money. What if you die prematurely? Well, the life insurance is tax-free under Section 101A of the code because you're taking pressure off of maybe your widow or your orphans relying on the government. So life insurance death benefits have always been tax-free under Section 101A of the code. So Sections 72E, 7702, and 101A of the Internal Revenue Code dictate how to accumulate, access, and transfer your money totally tax-free. If you want the least amount of insurance the IRS will let you get away with, because your primary objective is living benefits, you have to comply with 3 tax citations. You can search these on the channel. They are acronyms, TEFRA, DEFRA, and TAMRA. You'll learn TEFRA is an acronym that stands for the Tax Equity Fiscal Responsibility Act of 1982. DEFRA is the Deficit Reduction Act of 1984. The TEFRA, DEFRA tax citations are what dictate the minimum amount of insurance required based upon your age, your gender, and your health in order to be able to set one up so that the cost of insurance is as small as possible so that you can maybe average 11 and net 10 like I've been talking about. So TEFRA and DEFRA gave parity. It doesn't matter how old you are or how unhealthy, you can own an IUL policy structured correctly. You can earn 11 and net 10 even if you're uninsurable. You can own one on somebody else. If you are insurable, even if you're rated, you can squeeze down the death benefit. So a 78-year-old, a friend of our family who had 3 blocked arteries, adult onset diabetes, a prostate cancer episode, he was able to earn 11 and net 10 when he set one up, just like a 22-year-old athletic marathon running female, because he got away with less insurance than she did for the amount of money. Of course, he had more money than a 22-year-old did. But see, that's what TEFRA and DEFRA does. A lot of insurance agents don't understand how to structure one correctly. TAMRA says, well, if you want to use it for tax-free access, you have to spread it out, usually over 5 payments if it's universal life. If it's whole life, it's usually 7 years. That's called the 7-pay test. So if I wanted to, reposition $500,000, I would recommend, if you want tax-free income, to put in no more than $100,000 the first day of the first year, $100,000 the first day of the second year. You don't have to do that much. But in 4 years and 1 day into the 5th year, you can deposit the last $100,000, and now you're grandfathered forever after to have tax-free access to that money. You don't have to wait till you're 59 and a half. So you don't have all these strings attached. So when people ask the question, what is Doug Andrews' LASERFund? Well, it's a Max Funded indexed universal life insurance policy. But I'm here to tell you that probably over 99% of IUL policies sold in America, sadly, are not structured correctly and funded properly to have the cost of the insurance be as small as possible. If you earned 11, you might only net 6 because they didn't know what they were doing when they set it up. If it's set up correctly by a professional, you earn 11, you'll net 10 over the life of the contract sooner than later. Then it is deemed a LASERFund. LASER is an acronym that stands for liquid assets, safely earning returns. Yes, you can access your money and more of it sooner than later when it's structured correctly. You have the greatest safety of principal. Every year you make money, that becomes newly protected principal. You will never lose due to market volatility or market downturns money you've made in previous years because you're linking to an index. Your money is not invested in the market. It's linked to the market, to the S&P or whatever index you choose, so that if it goes up, you benefit. But if it goes down, you do not lose. You may not make much of anything. And because of history, where usually in a decade there's 7 up years compared to 3 down years, this is where I have averaged 9.6%. But if you rebalance based upon what's going on in the economy, you will earn returns more like 11%. But if you don't, if you just choose a good portfolio diversified with linking to several indices, you'll probably average 8.5%, 9.5%. But you know what? I'm a perfectionist. That's why I like to point my students to advisors that have annual reviews that will help you figure out how to rebalance every year to tweak your returns from 8 or 9 up to 10 or 11, okay? Because there's a big difference between 8% and 10% when you're compounding that for several years. So in a nutshell, what is Doug Andrews Laser Fund? It is a Max Funded indexed universal life insurance policy. But what's the caveat? It must be structured correctly and funded properly under Section 72E, 7702, and 101A of the Internal Revenue Code to accumulate your money tax-free so you can access it tax-free. When you die, it blossoms and transfers tax-free. And so that the cost of insurance drains out the least amount of your gross rate of return, but you must comply with TEFRA, DEFRA, and TAMRA tax citations. So that's a mouthful. That is a laser fund if it's structured correctly. If all you do is buy a life insurance policy and it happens to be an indexed universal life, chances are it would not qualify to be a laser fund. If you did earn 11, you might only net 4 or 5 or 6% because you didn't go to somebody who set it up correctly. I hope this is making sense. So I compare IUL to like a Swiss Army knife. I love it because it has so many uses. It's the dream solution for many financial goals. It knocks the socks off of putting that amount of money in IRAs or 401ks. It knocks the socks off of a 529 college savings plan. How about real estate management or working capital for business or estate planning or pension maximization if you're a school teacher? I don't care if you're using it for lump sum capital transfer. Whatever the use is, this is the dream solution when it's structured correctly. So if you want to learn more about Doug Andrews Laser Fund, I want to gift you a copy of this book titled The Laser Fund. It will teach you how to diversify and create the foundation for a tax-free retirement or any goal that you have to accumulate, access, and transfer money tax-free. Now, if you're a left brain learner, you read this one. This is about 200 pages, 14 chapters with all the charts and graphs and explanations. If you're more of a right brain learner, you learn by stories and examples. You flip it over to this one. This is about 100 pages, 12 chapters with 62 actual client stories. If you want to use your whole brain, right and left brain, I would read both of these books, but they contain 300 pages, jam-packed with insights. Don't miss out. Here's how you claim your free copy. You simply go to laserfund.com, LASERfund.com, or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I will cover the rest of that cost, and I will pay for the book. I'll fire out a hard copy to you. Check out the options there of audio and video if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn. There's options in there for our educational webinars, which we do on a regular basis. You can even plug yourself into an appointment calendar with an IUL specialist who knows how to set them up correctly. No cost, no obligation. They'll create illustrations to show you how a laser fund may fit in your particular set of circumstances. But this is not about Doug Andrew. This is about you and your brighter future.